guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Victoria, just your average girl on YouTube, and as you can see by the title, today I'm going to go through a list of somewhat unique, interesting, kind of weird food that we Hungarians eat. Now some of the food might be a bit old school, so I personally don't eat them, or some of them I despise it, like I just don't like it, but some of them I like them very much, and I thought it would be very fun to share with you guys and maybe see if you guys have something similar that you eat in your culture. You're gonna see that a lot of Hungarian foods are pretty unhealthy. The concept behind Hungarian food, I feel like from the old times, is try to make food as cheap of ingredients as possible, so they are not the healthiest and very inexpensive, as you're gonna see. Definitely let me know in the comments if there is some other weird food that you guys' culture have. I would love to check it out, and which food, if any, you would like to try from this list. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video so you don't miss out on any of my next videos. But yeah, let's move on to the first food item. Now, the first food that we're going to talk about is Tepertus or Tepertus. They are very similar actually. I personally like Tepertus better. Tepertus is made from semolina. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. I personally haven't. We call it buzadara. So semolina is basically the coarse purified wheat middlings of durum wheat. And basically we pour that out with milk and add a little bit of sugar and just cook it together until it thickens, and then you put a little bit of cocoa powder as topping. Some people like to put jam, and it tastes really good. It has a very settled taste, not too sweet, and very milky. It has a pudding consistency, I would say. As you can see in the picture here, I'm going to attach pictures to each food item so you can kind of visualize it. Now, Tepertus, the only difference with this is that you are basically cooking rice. Instead of water, you're cooking it in milk and add a little bit of sugar again, and it becomes this very sticky, sweet rice. Again, on top we like to add cocoa powder, or some people like to add cinnamon or jam. But I'm gonna tell a little secret. Hope my mom doesn't hear it. When my mom makes this, the rice always ends up kind of hard and kind of crunchy, so I'm not really liking it as much as Tepertus. But Tepertus is always a hit. If you want to eat something quick, you quickly just mix it together. It's done in seconds. Now let's move on to the next item. Okay, the next food item is krumplis tasta. Translating this would be potato pasta. It's a very easy concept. It's basically pasta topped with some flavored spiced mashed potato. I think they add paprika, a little bit of garlic or onion, I'm not sure, and then you mash it together. It has a little bit darker color because of the paprika. And I just find this is such a weird concept that you're eating two side dish together and you're making it as a main dish. I personally don't really like it. A lot of people like this, and it's very common to eat in Hungary. As you can see in the picture right here, we usually like to use a special pasta. I believe it's a square-shaped pasta. It's pretty weird, carbs on carbs. Alright, the next food item is called Salonna. It might not be too unfamiliar for you guys. It's basically a thick slice of bacon, but it's smoked, so you can eat this as it is. You don't have to cook it. There's so many variety of bacon. Some are more fatty, some are more meaty. My mom actually just got some from the European store. A lot of the stuff unfortunately can't get here in regular grocery stores, so you have to go to special stores, which are usually European stores. And so yeah, my mom, I think a few days ago, just went and grabbed a few stuff, and I took this picture for you guys in the morning. Yeah, I personally love it. Again, it's very unhealthy, but it's so good. We usually like to eat this just with plain bread and maybe some tomatoes on the side. That's pretty much it. Oh, this item is very interesting. You're probably gonna be like, what is that? It's húsgyros kenyér. I'm not exactly sure if it's a Hungarian food really, or if it's just what my grandma came up with while she was cooking, but it's was made very frequently at my grandma's place, and my mom started making it. So, but I haven't seen any of my friends ever make it. So I'm not really sure if it's really Hungarian or it's just made up of my family, but it's so yummy. Basically, it's bread that has a spread of yellowish looking fat that's very nicely flavored. This fat, the way you make it is it cooks out of meat. So you put a bunch of fatty meat in a pan, and I think you cut up a bunch of onion, peppers, and it cooks out, and then whatever fat lays on that in the pan underneath, you're gonna save it. You pour it out in a little container and you're gonna let it sit overnight. So the next day it solidifies, it becomes this very nice yellowish color fat, and you just use that as butter basically on your bread. Oh, also, I just recently found out that my grandma likes to add a little white wine to it. That adds a very nice flavor as well. I know you might think it's a little bit gross, but trust me, it tastes so good. I love it. The best part of this fat is the bottom part where all the, veggies and the flavor settles. Some people like the top part where there's not a lot of pulp, I like to call it. The bottom part is very pulpy, like where all the stuff is, and I think that just tastes so good. And you know what? Australian people have this Vegemite spread. I've never tried it, but for some reason, this is what I can imagine that's what that tastes like. I always wanted to try Vegemite. Let me know in the comments if it tastes anything like salty fat, because I heard it's really salty, and then this fat is kind of salty too. So I don't know. I for some reason associate Vegemite with this meat fat that we spread on the bread. I don't really know how to say it, but it's basically húsgyr translated to meat fat, meat spreadable fat. You can eat it with some paprika, veggies on the side, and that's pretty much it. And it reminds me of another Hungarian food that's very similar to this, and it's just literally regular fat that's white in color. They spread it on the bread and they cut some red onion on top and they sprinkle a little bit of salt, and that's pretty much it. Again, when people didn't have a lot of money back in the day, I think it was something really easy to eat and a lot of people used to eat it. And I remember they even gave this food to us, I think, in kindergarten. Very unhealthy meal plan if you ask me. Now this one, again, if you're talking about bread, it's a very simple concept. Maybe you've even tried this. It's super good. You toast a piece of bread, then you're going to take a piece of garlic. You're gonna take off the outer layer of the garlic and you're just gonna literally rub the garlic on the bread, and then you're gonna layer some butter on it and sprinkle some salt, and it's so good. And it's basically like garlic butter spread on a toast. Oops, sorry. So nothing interesting, but I know we used to eat this a lot on Sunday mornings. Something very easy. Lots of carbs again, I know. All of our food is composed of carbs, which is not that great. Now, the next food item is Horca. I'm not really sure how to translate this, but to me, it looks really similar to sausage, but it's much softer and a bit thicker, and it's much fresher because you have to bake it and then you're eating it while this is hot. There are two types of Horcas, or maybe there's more, but I know of two types. The one is made with liver, the other one is made with blood. Just the thought of bloody Horca, I never wanted to try it because to me that's so disgusting, but a lot of people like that, and when blood is baked, apparently it's really good. The blood is of course the pig's blood, I'm pretty sure. I think I tried bloody Horcas, but I can't really recall the taste. I don't think it tasted anything really, but I can talk about the liver Horca. The liver Horca is basically made up of liver pieces cut up into really tiny pieces and mixed together with a bunch of spices and rice. So it looks a little bit browny. I'm gonna put some pictures here. Actually, my mom's cousin, they created a business out of this. They own a lot of pigs and they cut them down. They make a lot of sausages and a lot of Horcas, and they're very popular in my little city. They make amazing Horcas. I wish you could try it. And you eat Horca with bread. I know it has rice in it, so it sounds kind of strange again that you are pairing two types of side dishes like bread and rice together, but that's just how we eat it. Now that we are talking about liver, I'm actually going to tell you guys, we eat liver, the actual organ. We eat pork liver, beef liver, and chicken liver. My personal favorite is chicken liver. Okay, that sounds so weird. I don't hate liver. I don't like pork liver at all because I just taste the animal so much. I don't like the beef one either. I eat the chicken liver. Sometimes we cook it into the chicken soup, but my personal favorite is when my mom cuts up some liver pieces with a bunch of onion, salt and pepper, and that's pretty much it. You just cook it on a pan until it cooks, and it's on a sweeter side. It's pretty good, really good for iron if you have low iron. Personally, I do have really low iron. I'm not too crazy about liver, but I do eat it if we have it. That's all I have to say about liver. Now, another organ that we eat is part of a chicken. Oh, we eat the chicken's heart too, I remember. When I was young, they're like tiny, tiny little hearts, and they were so chewy, and I really liked the consistency. But this thing that I'm going to talk about is also really chewy, and I loved the consistency. It doesn't specifically have like a taste. I really like the consistency because it's very chewy, and I think that's why I love boba or the tapioca kind of bubble tea because it's so chewy. Oh my god, I'm so weird, guys. Let me actually translate this because I have no clue what this is in English, and I don't really know what this is in Hungarian either. I just know that it's part of a chicken and I know what it looks like. It's a gizzard. Gizzard? Let's see. Let's see what gizzard is. Ah, yes, it is the right thing. Okay, so Google says that gizzard is a muscular, thick-walled part of a bird's stomach for grinding food, typically with grit. I'm gonna put a picture up here for you guys, but personally to me it looks like testicles. It looks really gross, but it's again very chewy. I have no idea why we eat it. I'm sure it's very nutritious. The way I used to eat it is my grandma would cook it into the chicken soup. So everything that comes in the chicken, she would cook it into the chicken soup. And the soup would taste delicious. Trust me. Now, let's get back to liver. Another food item that we eat is my cream, and I would translate this as liver paste. We currently have that in our house as well. It's really, really good. Liver is made into a paste with a bunch of spices. The other day I actually made it homemade and it tasted really good. In the liver paste, you don't necessarily taste the liver because there's just so much spice in it. My brother personally hates liver itself but loves liver paste. It's really good with cucumbers. This item is not really a food item, but it's more of a flavoring item. It's called Pirosh Aran and very common in Hungarian kitchen. And I would translate this, or it is translated to as a red gold. Basically, it's a paste made out of pepper. It's very concentrated, has really great flavor. A lot of people put it on sandwiches, but it's a main ingredient to goulash, so the soup that we make. It also says that it contains some tomatoes. It's just a very red paste that likes to add flavor and color to our foods. There are different flavors. There are some spicy ones. There are some very sweet ones. There are many different types of Pirosh Aran. The next food item is called tasta. I personally hate it. It's translated to cabbage pasta. Just think it's so weird. You're gonna have pasta and top it with sauteed cabbage that's sweet in taste, and I believe you top it off with some powdered sugar, and I think it's just the grossest thing ever. A lot of people like it. It's really popular in Hungary, but personally don't like it. Now, another pasta dish that's really quick and easy to make. We like to eat it when there's nothing really in the fridge, but we always usually have cheese and sour cream at home, so you just gotta cook some pasta. And it is Shaytosh tasta. You have pasta and you basically top it off with sour cream and grate some cheese on it, and that's it. Try it, it's good. I don't know what else to add to this. Like, so simple, but really popular. Next one is Cochina. Cochina. Oh, I hate it. I have no idea how to translate it. It is basically jello, consistency of a jello. But I think the way you make it is you make chicken soup or like some pork soup, and you put the thickener in it that makes it into a jelly. So you have to let it sit overnight in the fridge, and you basically eat cold soup that it's a jelly consistency, and you have parts of meat and veggies in it. And I just thought it's disgusting. You eat it with bread. Like, who eats soup with bread? The chicken soup with bread. I don't know. To me, just mind blowing. My grandparents love it. I know. I never liked it because of the consistency, and I just hate the sweet jellies in general too, like the jellos. But I'm not really sure if this is really Hungarian. I know a lot of European countries have this, but it's really popular in my country as well. Next one is one of my personal favorites. Is Tepertus. I don't think it has any translation in English, but it's basically just the fat of a pork. You cut off the thick fat piece of the pork, you cut it into squares or whatever shapes you want it, and you cook it in a pan until it becomes so dried up and hard that all the fat kind of evaporates from it, and it just becomes really crunchy pieces. And then you sprinkle a little bit of salt, and that's it. You eat it with bread, and it just tastes so freaking good. A lot of people like to make tepertu paste or tepertu cream or cream out of this. You just basically mash these crunchy pieces together, you add some spices into it, maybe some butter, I'm not really sure, and you spread this on the bread. I haven't eaten this in so long, but it's so good. And then this paste can be used in other pastries, so pogacha, tepertus pogacha, so good. It just has a really good flavor to it. I don't think it is comparable to crispy bacon, because I know it's basically bacon, like the fatty part of a bacon, but it's not really it. Very, very unhealthy though. Next one is just chicken leg. Probably nothing surprising to you. A lot of people eat chicken legs. I just think it's so gross. I could never eat it. Like, oh, I don't know. It's like these chicken legs that goes in the soup. I just remember my grandma loving it. I never liked it. Would never want to try it because it just grosses me out. Like, what if it starts moving? Okay. The next one is kurosh tasta, which is another pasta dish again. I don't really like it. I really don't like these Hungarian pasta dishes, as you can tell. It is translated to as cottage cheese pasta. You basically have pasta and you put the cottage cheese on top, and also cook some bacon until it's crispy, and then you add some sour cream, and that's it. This is a very popular dish in Hungary. My friend really loves it. I know that. I personally don't really like it, but feel free to try it. It's a very easy recipe. Again, no cooking is really required, and I believe for this we also use a specific shape of pasta. I think it is a rectangle pasta or the square pasta, but I'm not quite sure. We're gonna see on the picture. And my last food item on our list is something really, really delicious, I have to say. It's gyümölcsleves. Translated to English would be fruit soup. So we tend to make a lot of creamy soups that's made out of fruit. Specifically, there are apple soup, so cream apple soup, apple cream soup, cherry soup, peach soup. You can make it strawberry soup too. I know people started making those, but apple soup, cherry soup, and peach soup I feel like are the most popular ones. Very delicious. We eat it cold, so it is best the next day. I know you use milk, you add a little pudding powder in it too to make it a bit thicker. You use cream in it, and of course the fruit itself. And we like to add some cinnamon to add some flavor, and it's just really really good. Oh, and then to top it off, you can add some whipped cream, and it's just delicious. Hey y'all, I'm back. I just wanted to quickly come back on the video and tell you about one food item that I forgot to tell you guys. And it's very simple. It's just basically putting pieces of bread into milk, and that's what you eat. I know it's really weird. I don't even really know who came up with this. It's not really a food item. It's just if you have nothing to eat at home, this is something you could eat. I'm sure you have milk and bread at home, but I remember seeing my grandpa eat this a lot. He would literally have milk in the plate, and then he would just rip pieces of bread and put it into it. I was so young when he actually ate this. I don't know if I can't recall if he still eats that, but that's one more thing some older Hungarian people might eat. All right, let's get back to the outro. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was really fun to film and think of all these kind of weird foods. I know the reason I made this video is because every time I would see or think about these foods, I would be like, oh, there's so many weird foods in Hungarian. Why don't I try to make a video of it and see what people think? It would be pretty entertaining, I feel like, and maybe it's something that we could all bond with. If you have something similar in your culture, make sure you don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.